Okay, this is the lab setup part 3 in preparation for the supporting Windows 8.1 in the Microsoft Official Academic Course in preparation for exam 70-688. So before we can start our first lab, which is supporting an operating system, we have to continue with our lab setup. And I have my lab set up in a Word document, and we've gotten to the point where we're now going to be installing and configuring Server 1. So I'm going to go back to my Hyper-V, and you'll notice that my RWDC is still running, and I'm going to let it continue to run. So I'm going to left-click, right-click, New, Virtual Machine, and we're going to call this Server01, and then CTS 2153, and then next, 2096. Okay, we're only going to go with 1024 here, and then use dynamic, and then next. We're going to go ahead and connect it with the internal, and then next. And it says to provide it, or to give it 60 gig. I'm going to go ahead and go with 70, and then next. And we're going to install from the image ISO, browse, and here's my server my Windows 8.1, open, next, and finish. F2. There we go. Now I'm going to go and turn on my machine. Oh, no. I messed up. Let me close out of this. This is another, I'm jumping to Windows 8.1. I shouldn't be. Turn off. Turn off. I need to change this. So I'm going to go to Settings. Browse. Server. Open. Okay. Now I'm going to, this is a server. Now turn it on. And then next, install now. And I'm going to put in my license key, and then I'll resume the video. Okay, again, we're going to go with the GUI, then next, accept the terms, next, install, next. Now, while this is working on Server 1, we're going to go to our RWDC machine, which I still have running right here. And we're going to open up the software folder. And then we're going to right-click the Exchange, which I do not have on here, so we'll need to download it. All right, so in order to download the Exchange Server 2013 Enterprise, I've navigated to the Microsoft.com/en-us/evaluation center. And I want to type in Exchange Server 2013 Enterprise. So Exchange Server 2013. And for some reason I'm getting a server error. So would you try? Alright, I'm going to pause video while I find this download. Okay, so in order to download this trial, you have to register, and I've done that. I'm getting ready to download it. So it's downloading now. And then once it does that, I'll have it available. Alright, let's take a look where we're at so far. It looks like our server 1 is still installing, so I'll go ahead and pause while I wait for this download to complete. Okay, I've downloaded the Exchange server, but in the meantime, server 1 has finished. So I'm going to go ahead and add that password. And again, we're using our capital P, little a, $, $W, 0RD. Go ahead and click on Finish. And then we're going to go ahead and log in. Now, you'll notice that we have administrator here. Oops. And I can't log in as other yet. That's because we haven't joined server 1 with the domain. But as soon as we do, you'll see where we'll be able to log in a little bit differently. Okay, so now that we've had server 1, I'm just going to minimize this for a minute. Now that we have server 1 up, let me go into the local server. We're again going to adjust the time zone to Eastern. And then OK. And then OK. And then we're going to go to our Ethernet. Right click, properties. We're going to assign this one as 192.168.1.60 tab. And again, we're going to point it to the DNS, which is 192.168.1.50. And then go ahead and do OK. And then close. And then we're going to close out of this. And then we're going to change the computer name to Server01, and we're going to point it to the domain of Pitoso.com, and then OK. Hopefully we get that pop-up box that allows us to log in. Yay, this is a good sign. So now we're going to type in administrator, and then password, and then OK. And it's going to make us reboot. So there's our welcome. And then OK. I'm going to close out of this and we'll go ahead and do a restart now. Now I'm going to jump back to the installing the Microsoft Exchange server. So let me go back to my RWDC, which is right here. And we want to mount that ISO that we've downloaded. So I'm going to go here, and this is the file. Not saying this should be an ISO. So I'm going to copy this to the RWDC. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and double click it. I just double clicked within my live machine. Unmount this so we eject. Okay, so server 1 has rebooted, and you'll notice that now we have server01/administrator. We also have the option to choose another user. So we need to choose other user so we can log into the Contoso domain. Oops. There we go. Okay, before we go too much further, I do want to eject the disk, the ISO image that we've used to create this. So we can get started on Server02. Click on Media, DVD Drive, and go ahead and inject Server 2012. Because we're going to be navigating to the RWDC to get the Exchange Server ISO. Alright. Here we have the RWDC, and I have to put the Exchange Server ISO on here, so I'm going to go here through my live machine. And I've already copied it. Actually, let me go ahead and eject this. Okay. So here's the Exchange Server DVD, or ISO rather. So I'm just going to copy it and then go into my network and then onto my RWDC01. And then my software. And then Control V to paste it. I'll go ahead and close this. And I will close this. And then minimize. I'm going to jump over to my Server 1. And I'm going to minimize the Server Manager console. Open up the Windows Explorer. Again, I'm still copying over that file that I need. And I'll go ahead and click on Network. And then click here to turn on the network discovery. And you'll see that I don't have the RWDC visible. But when I put in my RWDC address, it pulled up the software folder. And that's not uncommon. Okay, I'm going to go flip back to my RWDC01, open my Windows Explorer, there's my C drive, there's the software, and there's our Exchange server. Now we want to go ahead and right click on it and then mount it. And I was able to actually open it. It's actually opened up in my E drive. And now I'm going to open up a command prompt. So I'm going to right click, run cmd oops, cancel. Let's do a search. Search. CMD. And we're going to right click on it and run as administrator. Now it's going to make this a little bit larger so it's easier to see. There we go. And then we're going to type in this command. You're going to make this all as one line. And then enter. Okay, file copy complete. Setup will now collect additional information needed for the installation. I'm going to pause the video while this finishes up. Okay, now that that's done, we're going to flip over to Server 1 and go on our Server Manager, click on Manage. Add rules and features. Then next, and next, and next. Now, under our select server roles, we want to scroll down to Web Server IIS. And check that box. Go ahead and select Add Features. And then we're going to do Next. Now, under Features, we want to select the .NET Framework 4.5 and go ahead and expand that. And we want to make sure, so that's already installed, that's good. And we want to make sure we have the Framework 4.5 features, WCF services. So we're going to expand this. And we want to make sure we have the HTTP Activation Media Foundation. So there's the HTTP activation. And then we want to go down to Media Foundation, which is right here. So we're going to go and select Media Foundation. Then we want to do RCP over HTTP proxy. Add features. And then Windows Identity Foundation. And then Windows Server Backup. We do next, and then next. Okay, here we need to scroll down to Web Server. So let's do it this way. We're already on Web Server, so we want to find Performance first. So here's Performance. We want to make sure we have dynamic content compression checked, so we've checked that. Then under security, here we have security. We want to select digest authentication, which is right here. And I'm going to minimize this. And then under management tools, which is down here, we want to select IIS Management Console, and it's already selected. And then we also want IIS 6 management capability. Let's go ahead and expand this. Okay, we have web management, management tools. We have IIS Management Console. Then we need IIS 6 Management Console. And then we go down to IIS WMI capability. It's right here. And management service. And now we're going to go ahead and click on Next, Install. And I'm going to let this install. Once it's installed, it's going to need to reboot. So I'm going to pause the video while I wait for this to install and then reboot. As soon as it reboots, I'll resume the video. Okay, so my server's rebooted. Again, I'm going to go on this other server. And then toso/administrator and password. Now I want to use File Explorer and go into the RWDC01 software folder. So go ahead and open up File Explorer. Click on Network. And then RWDC and software. Now we want to find the UCMA runtime setup, which is right here. And we want to double click this. And then go and select Run. And now we're going to go ahead and click on Next. Check the box that we agree to license terms. And then go ahead and click on Install. Now while this is running, I'm going to go ahead and start the next install of Server02. So I'm just going to do right click, New, Virtual Machine, Server02, Next, Next, 1024, Use Dynamic, Next. Go ahead and connect it to the internal. Next. and 60. Then next, install from ISO. Open. Next, finish. And then I'll go ahead and F2. CTS 2153. Turn it on. Minimize this. So we're still installing on server 1. I'm going to go ahead and minimize the RWDC because I don't need it right this moment, but I do need it on. So I'll move server 1 over here. Okay, I'll click on next here, install. Here I'll go ahead and click on finish. Now I'm going to pause while I enter the serial key, and I'll continue as soon as I get to the next screen. And again, we're going to do this server with GUI, then next, accept, and then next, custom, and next. Okay, so that's starting to do its install. So while it's doing that, let's continue with our server 1 setup. Now the next thing we're going to do is double click on the filter pack 64-bit, which is right here. Double click. And run. And then next, accept, and then next, we'll let that install. Okay, filter pack's been completed successfully. I'll do OK. Now we want to double click filter pack 2010. And then run. Accept the terms and then continue. And once the installation is complete, we're going to click on OK, and then we have to reboot server 1 again. And then do OK. Now we need to reboot server 1, so I'm going to go here. and restart. And you'll see that Windows Server 2 is still installing. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of the command prompt here. Right click, eject here. Go back and minimize. Go to Server 1. Go into our Windows Explorer. Network. RWDC. Software. And then we're going to right click on it and mount. So now it's mounted on the E drive again. And now we're going to go down to Setup. And double click. Okay, that's initializing. We don't want to check for updates right now. I'll go ahead and click on Next. I'm going to minimize this for now. Okay, so we're kind of in a holding pattern. So right now it's going to I'm going to pause the video and then I'll resume when the next step comes up. Okay, so here we are on the Microsoft Exchange Server 2013 Server Pack 1 setup. We're going to go ahead and click on Next. And again, accept the terms. And then Next. Here we're going to go ahead and use recommended settings and then Next. And we're going to select Mailbox Role. And then Next. oops, let me click back. We also want client access role. And now click on next. Next. And next. I'll go on pause while we wait for this to configure. Okay, I'm going to flip over here, put in password. And pause while we finish coming up. Okay, I'm going to go and log into Server02. And you can see this readiness checks. We're still working on Server 1. It takes a long time. For a good solid 5 minutes, it stayed at 0, and I almost thought it errored out. But you just have to be patient. It takes some time. Okay, I got an error during the readiness check. It might be because I'm trying to add another server. So, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna click on retry. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and reboot everything. Make sure you want to cancel setup, yes. So I'm gonna actually turn this off. And I'm even going to restart the RWDC. Turn it off first. So I'm going to reboot, actually restart all of these. I'll start the RWDC first, get it logged in, and then log back or restart Server 1 and Server 2, and then I'll resume the video. Okay, so I logged back into my Server 1. I've actually rebooted my RWDC, and I've rebooted Server 1. I've remounted that Exchange Server ISO. I'm going to start the setup again. Don't check for updates. And then next. Okay, so I just clicked on next. Accept the license terms and next. Use recommended settings and next. We want to choose mailbox, client access role, and next, next, and then next. Okay, I'll click to install. Okay, so after we've had to reboot, now it was able to be successful. Go ahead and click on finish. And I'm going to go ahead and boot up Server 2 now. Okay, I'm going to log in. Okay, so this one's going to be .70, and again we're going to point it to the DNS 192.168.1.50, and then OK. Close. And as soon as the server manager comes up, we will go ahead and change the name and assign it to the domain. Okay. Now we'll have to restart this one. Before we do that, I just want to make sure I've ejected the DVD, and I have. I'm going to do restart later and just turn this off. And I need to go ahead and add server 3. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, and then the next video we will go through adding server 3 and adding the external switch and possibly getting into the WSUS.